Welcome back. Today is the International Day of Education, and the theme of this year is Learning for Lasting Peace. Learning for peace must be a transformative process, enabling learners to gain essential knowledge, values, attitudes, skills, and behaviors, thereby empowering them to serve as catalysts for peace in their communities. Now, it is against this background that UNESCO is dedicating the International Day of Education, celebrated on the 24th of January each year, to the crucial role education and teachers play in countering hate speech. The day will be celebrated or commemorated, that is on Friday. And joining us with more on this is the Deputy Executive Director for Formal Education, that's Ms. Edda Bon. A very good morning to you, Ms. Bon. Thank you for being here this morning.
Yes, good morning to you and good morning to the viewers.
Before
Thank you for the invitation.
Always a pleasure having you here. Before we get into the details of today's discussion, just how would you describe the first 2 weeks since the start of the academic year?
Yeah, I think it is just in the nature of the start of an academic year and the start of a calendar year that one is a bit in euphoria. And this was fueled with our release of the results. And then, of course, you know, against the backdrop of the what His Excellency said, the year of expectation, we all have high expectations of ourselves and, of course, then of our immediate environment. And here we are, education, and that is number one. We start with access, and that's where we have a few challenges. But we are here to overcome these, and definitely in keeping the dialogue open with those who are facing a bottleneck, and we assure all, affected learners and parents that
they will have access to education
at the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then also the calamities that happened. With the infrastructure that is already under severe pressure. We have roofs being blown off. And so we are fully aware of that, and we are addressing these to the best of our abilities. And we must embrace these challenges as a collective and find solutions together, because that's the only way how we can move forward.
And education is our the responsibility of all of
us. Shared
responsibility indeed, Ms. Ball, of course, today is the International Day of Education, being celebrated under the theme Learning for Peace, which really speaks to countering hate speech. We know that, of course, this is an issue for Namibia as well. Just first and foremost, what does this day mean to you as the Deputy Executive Director for Formal Education in the Ministry of Education, and what does this mean, for Namibian education as well?
Yeah. So for me personally, and of course also in my professional context, I had, even already last year mobilized my colleagues in saying it's 2024. The year 2024, and the 24th of January. Let's come with a big bang. And we had, in our minds and fantasies, we had, seeing a carnival-like procession.
Oh, nice.
but we haven't gone that far, because of course it also would come with expenditures and so on. And the essence here is that we create an awareness in the individual mind. So it's not so much about the materialistic makeup of the day and the commemoration, but it's more what happens in every Namibian's mind on the awareness of creating peace. And this is, I really embrace this theme wholeheartedly, because that is also a principle of my life philosophy, maintaining peace and good relations. And it's also against, the SDGs are based on what we call 5 pillars. And these 5 pillars being, people, planet, peace, prosperity, and partnerships. Those you can even find also mirrored in our own national documents and development plans. So from that angle, these 5 P's, they should be like a banging slogan in our minds. And the crucial one here that connects, the people, prosperity, the planet, peace, and partnerships together is that in partnerships. in partnerships. And what are partnerships? Those are relations that you build through dialogue, through mutual understanding, really through unpacking. And these skills, emerge from language and creating meaning in with language,
yes.
to concepts, to experiences, to emotions. And then, of course, to conflict resolutions,
Absolutely.
which maintain peace. Yeah. And language is a crucial element here. And if we,
use addressing, the wrong language.
Addressing our problems in, achieving the quality we want, they emerge all there.
True.
With the capacity to develop the language in an individual. Yeah. That is now our own children. And we know learning takes place from the first 1,000 days throughout the life, but that the first 1,000 days are the most important and crucial, that determine further learning. Yeah. And then we must know that this learning, what we are speaking about here, that cognitive development and potential to be unlocked from everyone starts in the womb.
True.
And that speech, the stimulation of the little growing fetus to the infant, to the child, starts through verbal stimulation. True. And that is, we have to articulate, we have to speak more. Yeah. And Namibia is known, speak positively is known as a talking nation. Yes. We like to talk about issues, so we just have to capitalize this in, as you were saying, in a positive way.
Manner. Very much indeed. How big of a concern is the issue of hate speech for the ministry?
For us, we see it as the international context pins it down to, the social media. Yes. That with the past, century, you could say, and this expansion in, social media and that everybody has a smartphone with data and is, accessing all these platforms and everybody, generates ideas that are not always constructive.
Everybody has an opinion.
And has an opinion, of course. So it is that ground, you could say, that fertile ground for good things to emerge, but also for bad things. And we, us as educators, are responsible in creating that awareness. There is that possibility.
Absolutely.
How can you critically analyze something for its truthfulness, for its, is this not just, clickbait? Or is it not just, leading to hate speech, influencing you from, a possible angle? Yeah. But, so these are elements in terms of educating our young, our children, our learners, to be aware and to be able to deconstruct hate speech and create positive relations, conflict resolution. So all these elements are like the soft skills that we want to build through our, implementation of the formal curriculum.
Very much.
And these are sometimes not always on the dotted line, on the printed, but what we also say in between the lines.
In between the lines, very much. But where do we start, instilling these qualities, these principles, and how do our current policies and, the current curricula, etc., speak to eradicating hate speech here?
Yeah, for us, what is central is, of course, democratic settings. And as we start working with learners and little ones, we would foster that
culture.
That culture. And also always keep in mind, it is not from somewhere or anywhere, but it's enshrined in the human rights. True. And so also our constitution. Yes. And in the training of teachers, we pay attention to that, to focus on learner-centered education. Yeah. So that's based on the premises that we understand that every learner has a potential to be unlocked and, grown, nurtured, and so on. Yeah. So from that, you create a positive self-awareness, treasuring your own being as such and your own potential. And through that, respect for your own you generate respect for your fellow.
Absolutely.
And of course, even if you have your own children, you know that's not always so easy. The 2-year-old has their determination and willpower that sometimes drives you as a parent to absolute, frustration.
Yeah.
And then it's our duty to take a deep breath and, find that common ground.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Find a common ground and formulate a common goal.
Yeah.
So this is what we are advocating in our teacher training. And what, as I said before, they are the soft skills. They're not always visible, being written down.
On a policy or,
in policy documents, we focus on learner-centered education.
Yeah.
We focus on democratic principles. There'll be, a class captain. There'll be channels of communication.
But those soft skills start from home. Etc.
Yes.
Ms. Bon, unfortunately, we are pressed for time, but the commemoration is taking place on Friday, yes?
Yes.
What can we expect here?
Yeah, we have agreed with the school, Windhoek High School, to utilize their school hall.
Nice.
And we have invited schools. There'll be a debating competition. There will be choir performances and a few prizes. We are not going out of our way, but just that recognition.
Yes.
And we hope to find you there to document it.
Definitely, the NBC will be there. It's a very important day and we need to document these days.
Yes, and it's 2024, the 24th of January, so let's make the best of today.
Very much. Ms. Bon, thank you for being here this morning. All the best to you and our stakeholders of education for always, upholding education. All the best to you.
Thank you so much.
There you have it. Deputy Executive Director for Formal Education in the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Ms. Edda Bon, talking to us this morning about the International Day of Education. Of course, this year's day is commemorating or is, of course, dedicated to countering that is hate speech stemming mostly from social media. And as you heard from Ms. Bon there, some of these soft skills that speak to conflict resolution, of course, start from home. So we need to play our parts and ensure that within those first 1,000 days that we do, of course, shape these minds, shape these hearts to be conflict resolute, in the future. To stay with us.